and I'll go sit in a corner and read a book or something. And I think it's really important that we, freedom implies that we should be able to figure it out ourselves. Is it right or wrong what we're doing? Are we really offending against some principle here? Are we offending someone else's right by doing this? Are we damaging, harming? Is there anything? We should be able to figure it out. And if somebody is taking a knee and the next person says, no, you can't do that, you wonder, can't you figure that out? It's like, my view is that we need to learn to figure it out on our own somewhat, and not be led around by like a bull with a nose ring, It's like we should be able to have some kind of a moral, ethical perspective and some sense of what the general rule is here. Don't hurt other people, and so on.
Yeah, you would think so. You would think so, It sounds so simple. We could go on about that forever, Even, I don't even want to get into it, but what about in a school, you can't wear gang jackets, right? Or gang signs or gang colors. That's prohibited, isn't it?
Yeah, they can prohibit that.
How can they? Because isn't that freedom of speech too as well?
Well, because freedom of speech is like, there's different kinds of speech. And just to set, extremes, you can't say, you can't shout fire in a crowded theater. So that establishes the principle that all speech is not necessarily protected. And you can't go into a bank and say your money or your life and claim that that's the speech there is instrumental. It's something else. Now the gang, what's a gang? Is a gang necessarily a group? Maybe not, but maybe so. And I don't know. I'm not trying to say what should be really, but it's more trying to understand how people are afraid of certain things. In terms of gang colors, it's going to come up more likely, like gang colors do come up in cities especially, but the Confederate flag or the swastika, something. And I think what it's going to come to is that they're going to, like the hate speech, the whole hate speech thing. It's like there's a borderline where expressing an idea, actually just in a kind of a non-threatening way, to express an idea and say, even an abhorrent idea, even a really horrible idea, but if you can kind of say it in a neutral tone and it's not taken a direct threat or something like that. But when you go into hate speech and you start shouting names at each other and so on, it's kind of coming closer to assault. And especially in a school environment, you can't do that. In a sense, 50 years ago we did this black armband thing, and it still stands. And partly that's because of the non-disruptive nature, and partly it's because there was no question that it was what they call pure speech. It was an idea that we. And so those are going to be more protected. When it veers off into disruptive, assaultive speech, then I think there starts. First obligation of human being is to be a decent person. I really think, and a lot of hate speech should be filtered out a little bit before it actually occurs. That's in a better world, I guess.
Yeah, but we have to allow it, because otherwise we have to allow unpopular speech because in 1965 or 1955, it was popular not to allow those blacks to swim in the swimming pool. You know,
no, you're stating one of the primary principles of free speech. It's like free speech is when you have free speech for the idea that you hate.
Right.
That's free speech. No, that's totally true. That's totally true. And I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about speech that becomes like an assault,
right?
Or when you're inciting that kind of speech. It's like if you start shouting "kill" and then fill in the blank, kill some minority, or maybe not the minority. But if you start exhorting people to do violent things, it becomes more than just the expression of an idea. It becomes an attack. And the law, somebody said that the Constitution is not a suicide pact. Well, written law itself is not a suicide pact. And there are first principles, I would say, regarding your right to defend yourself, and so on. And we're better off, the free speech advocates are really better off overall if we just avoid this is my view, if we can avoid the fine distinctions a little bit and kind of back away from the edge of the cliff and then use our speech to talk about what we really think is important and not to be testing the limit to see where the limit is, but do the right thing and then defend your right to do the right thing. Be clear on what you're thinking and what you want to do. And then once you're clear that it's right for you to do it. And the law may or may not agree with you, but that shouldn't affect too much whether you decide to do it or not.
John Tucker, we're out of time. How can people find you? And again, tell them about your website there.
Well, that's probably the best way. If they go to that homepage on schema-root.org, and there's a contact us link, and that's me. It's editor@schema-root.org is my email address, and I welcome email from anyone. Even if you hate what I said, just tell me that. And if you're reasonable, I'll discuss it with you. Ed, thank you very much for inviting me.
Okay, then we had John Tinker, who was the guy behind. This is the guy that went to the Supreme Court and got free speech for our kids in school. It's called the Tinker Standard. And you could find him. What is this website here? You couldn't hear him at all there. That music was coming up there. The audio on that thing was horrible. I don't know what we're going to do. Good old John Tinker. Schema-root.org. And that's spelled SCHEMA-root.org. And this has all kinds of stuff and all kinds of links to different kinds of news, RSS feeds, I suppose it is. And he's got a radio station down in Missouri and a national hero that put his butt on the line, went all the way to the Supreme Court and stood up for his principles there. And there it is 50 years later. And we have him to thank for this kind of stuff. I like to bring in that kind of stuff here on the Opperman Report. I want to give a shout out to St. John Hunt. Got him on the show yesterday. St. John Hunt. You can find him at the JFKConferenceDC.com. He's down there it's called a big event. It's about the JFK assassination. St. John Hunt's father was one of the JFK assassins. Was one of the assassins there. E. Howard Hunt, CIA agent, who was one of the Watergate burglars. And St. John Hunt now is working for Roger Stone. And if you listen to yesterday's show, we have an exclusive accounting of what's going on behind the scenes there with Roger Stone by a good friend of Roger Stone who talks to Roger Stone every day. Got all this stuff about Sam the Nunberg and all that stuff, but also too about their new book that just came out, Away with Words. That's a new book that hasn't been announced by anybody but me. That Roger Stone wrote with St. John Hunt about what's been going on with Julian Assange and the FBI investigation and WikiLeaks and all the craziness with the colluding. And St. John seems convinced that there was no colluding going on. Right? You have a different opinion, but yeah, he's right there. He's in the loop, as you might say there. Enjoy today's show, or yesterday's show for that matter, if you enjoy the show at all. And I hope you do. I put a lot of work into this show. And it really upsets me when they have these kind of audio problems. I'm hoping they'll salvage this interview we just did with John Tinker. But if you enjoy the show, there's more in the members section at OppermanReport.com. OppermanReport.com. We're more in the members section there. We're exclusive interviews, all kinds of stuff. I interviewed the guy who rented the Steve Bannon's porn and meth house, and he talks about how there were padlocks on the doors and windows, like they were locking somebody in. There was evidence of meth production. There was people reporting they were filming pornos in there. All kinds of shows like that. McMartin Preschool, exclusive information on that. People talk about the film Tim Tate and Conspiracy of Silence, about the Franklin cover-up. I found the guy who made the film, this censored film. People talk about it, but I found the guy, There's a lot of good content there on OppermanReport.com. If you want to advertise on the show, you get. And now a word from our sponsors.
Hi, folks. Ronnie here from Life Change Tea. There's a lot of hubbub about the ramifications of GMOs. First of all, what are GMOs? Genetically modified organisms. Yee! Man-made organisms entering our body, changing and damaging us from the inside out. What's our defense? First of all, not eating them. Second, cleansing from them when we do eat them. Thank God for Life Change Tea at GetTheTea.com. Life Change Tea cleanses from toxins, heavy metals, and helps flush GMOs out of your body. Our unique blend of herbs help cleanse you from the inside out, helping you feel refreshed and clean of yee. We also carry unique one-of-a-kind supplements. So order online at GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. Rid yourself of the yee that contaminates your food and water. Go to GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. Get the Tea, your best defense.
The Opperman Report is brought to you by SubhashTechnosis.com. Subash Technosis is a search engine optimization and website design company. They're located in India, so you're going to save a lot of money and get top quality service. They offer all sorts of business process outsourcing, data entry, banking BPO services, recruitment process outsourcing, software testing, offshoring, research network, customer care, press release, content writing and distribution, and much, much more. Now, you can get a hold of Subash Technosis by email at info@subashtechnosis.com. Their website is www.subashtechnosis.com, and their Skype is ANUSHASUBASH. Remember, all these shows on Awake are brought to you by emailrevealer.com. You can go to emailrevealer.com and get a copy of my book, How to Become a Successful Private Investigator. You also do all the kind of different services for you. An online dating service investigation. It's called an online infidelity investigation. And that's where you give us your husband or your boyfriend, your girlfriend's email address, and we trace it back to their online dating websites. And we return a list of all the dating sites that email is registered to. We can expand on that investigation and trace it back to porn sites, escort service sites, swinger sites, gambling websites, and even prescription drug websites. If you think your ex-husband or something is addicted to prescription medication or involved in an extreme online pornography addiction, we can produce a report for you that you can use in court. Email tracing. If you need to locate or identify somebody from just an email address, we do an email trace investigation for you, and all kinds of digital forensics, computer and cell phone digital forensics, where we can recover deleted content from an email or a hard drive and produce a report for you that you can use in court. That's emailrevealer.com, or you can contact me at oppermaninvestigations@gmail.com. You can have your ad played here at oppermanreport.com every Friday night, 5 p.m., and Saturday night, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And on Friday nights, too, we do a live portion for 1 hour that I just do a live monologue. The ads are very, very inexpensive, and they're also played in the Opperman Report